Hi there, I'm Lyndon Thorpe. I'm an embodiment mentor and I'm streaming today to LinkedIn and YouTube. So, welcome to Your Body is Your Business Plan, the Masterclass. As you know, it's a 13 event series, and each week I invite a different person to come and co host with me. And today I'm delighted because I've got Smita Abraham here, who is an embodiment coach. So we're going to be chatting about what embodiment is and how it's received by real human beings. It's not a theory, it's a very practical thing, and we can really help transform people so they can be happier and more successful. So, before we go any further, I'd like to set the scene for embodiment. If you're joining us for the first time, you may not even know what it is. So I'm going to play a voiceless presentation to you so you can get the messages. And especially if you suffer from ADHD or anything like that, then this voiceless presentation will allow you to find out what embodiment is and to feel comfortable with that before we start to talk about it. So I'm going to share my screen with you. So, thank you so much. I hope those who don't behave or work normally with videos could get something from those videos, the hearing impaired and so on. Messages are very important, and we have to embrace everybody. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to now invite my guest onto the stage. Just a little introduction. She is an alignment and integration coach, Smita Abraham, and she's guiding her clients to achieve a deeper sense of inner harmony and alignment. And she integrates their thoughts, or helps to integrate their thoughts, their emotions, and their actions by using a holistic approach and addresses body, spirit. We are very much doing the same kind of thing, but from different perspective. And through her coaching, she supports others in identifying, releasing, limiting patterns and beliefs, developing strategies for managing stress and emotions, integrating their intuition and inner wisdom into daily decision making, and aligning their actions and choices, core values and purpose. So, without more ado, welcome to Smita. Hi, Smita. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So glad you could make it, because you nearly didn't, I think, because you've had sick babies and so on this week, I believe.
They're fine now.
Oh,
Thank you.
it's so nice to see you. Thank you. So, yes, I think the idea tonight for us is to talk. because I'm learning through my live work on LinkedIn that people learn more and get more stimulated by conversations than presentations. With people, talking a lot, people switch off, they switch out, their attention spans are not what they used to be. And so I'm learning now that it's better to have a conversation and people really get interested and kind of involved in that conversation. So, yes, let's go ahead and chat about embodiment. Smita, why did you get involved in embodiment in the first place? What's your background? Where you fit into it?
It's from my own experience, actually. I was disembodied, you could say, or disconnected from my mind and body for a very long time. Living
Ah,
in that limited mind sort of
mm,
gives rise to all this fear. So every day I used to wake up with anxiety and panic attacks. And like the
wow,
smallest triggers that can, set off the panic attack mode. To come back to
wow,
my body is also to understand that I'm safe in my body and to hack your brain into believing whatever you want your brain to believe. Not to believe what the mind puts into you. Your limited mind puts in a lot of illusions like fears and anxieties
mm,
and
yes,
laziness, procrastination. So, sit with your body, come back to your body, and it helps immensely for me to come back to my energy, my inner self, to align myself with, what is the true soul nature of mine. And that journey has been long, but I would say it was really fulfilling. Even today, I was talking to another friend who said, "You have to give yourself a pat in the back. See how much you have traveled. See
yes,
how much you have come."
absolutely,
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
So yeah.
I really applaud you because yeah, my journey is very different. I have never been disembodied ever in my life. I'm so fortunate, I think. And that's really because I've followed a very strong spiritual pathway most of my life. From the age of about 12, I became a Buddhist. And the Buddhist teachings are tremendously liberating and protective, so, yeah, I really admire what you've done because I've never done it. And so a lot of my work I've learnt by empathizing with my clients and my students, and I put myself in their position. So I'm a very empathetic person. And that's how I've learnt really to deal with depression and all of the things that clearly you have overcome, which is fantastic. You've got so much to share with people, I think. Yeah. So, and do you feel that this journey fuels your work with all your clients, or are
Definitely,
you definitely good? And so
definitely,
you're
definitely.
definitely you're combining your personal experience with other practices and so on. Tell us a little bit
Exactly.
about how you've
See, again,
practiced.
like you said, because of my own personal experience, and I'm able to empathize with everybody. I understand deeply. Like, for example, when you take depression, you just mentioned depression. I'm just taking that now. Recently, also, I had a discussion with some people who are sympathizing with the depression fact. People have depression, and you should not see it as something just because people. There was something about it in the news where people were making fun or mocking people who were depressed, saying it is because they're inactive or they're not, going
Mm,
out and socializing. So my friends were sympathizing with that, but even so, they have very limited knowledge about what depression actually is. So they thought depression is people who can't cope with certain events and certain situations, and they don't have the emotional strength to cope with certain events. But I have been through that, and I am one of the strongest persons. I know that. And I told them, no, people who are in depression could be some of the strongest people you know. It could be the
mm,
person in a lively circle, the most liveliest person in that circle could be in depression. they are probably taking ways to distract themselves from that. So
Yes.
depression
Yeah.
can look in many different ways. It doesn't mean a person who is in depression will be moping around, feeling sad. It could be the most active person also. Could be
Mm.
the
Yeah.
social butterfly as well. But having
Yes.
gone through that, I do understand when they say so and so things are happening to me. I immediately pick up, okay, you're going through, this is what you're going through, or that is what you're
Mm.
going through. And plus, it's also given me not just empathy, I don't judge people. And I'm amazed how non judgmental I have become. And I've heard stories, but I'm totally non judgmental because people do certain things or choose certain paths because they are put into a corner most of the times. And that
Yes.
is their way out. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Yes, I think you're quite right, and I think people who do withdraw from life, if we want to see depression as that, something like that, withdrawing from life for whatever reason, I think in many ways they're very wise to pull back, and not just spend their lives being people pleasers, not spend their lives wearing masks. They're pulling back, and they are r- reflecting deeply. And maybe what they find is not very pleasing, or maybe what they find is wonderful. So they're so glad to be withdrawn from the general current of society. So yes, I've worked with a number of depressives who are really, in their way, quite happy to be passive, to step back away from the flames of emotion and so on. And in fact, yeah, a few cases I'm thinking of, I've worked in deep meditation with them. They are in heaven and they're very pure. They're really pure, but they refuse to be dragged along by the current. And then we label them and say they're depressed and give them medication and so on. So I actually really feel that, like you, I feel that those who profess to be depressed are extremely strong in some ways, and balance is all we need. So I've done a lot of balancing work with people with depression. I don't know if you know, but I live in Japan. You do know that, I know. But in Japan, we have so much depression. It's called, medically called, depression, and of course, because Japan is a very traditional place in many ways, then if somebody's depressed, their parents immediately take them to the doctor immediately sedates them, and so we've got a lot of kind of vegetables walking around because they're heavily medicated. But I found that many of the young people in my classes, because I've taught university here for 20 years, they are not depressed at all, but they are trying to fit into a very, very difficult, judgmental culture. It is extremely difficult to be an individual here. And so, yeah, I depressed kids in my class, with the right kind of encouragement, become the most extraordinary people and are not remotely depressed as we would have it, because they've got all this incredible energy that they are keeping for themselves, and they stop their medication and they just become such great people. So, yeah, I think there's a tendency to medicate depression, which is so dangerous, I think.
Yes.
Addiction and so on to certain drugs. Yeah.
Yes, something happened to me also. When I went to the psychiatrist, the first thing they suggest is anti-anxiety drugs. So I said,
Oh,
no, I would select
really?
different drugs to get over it. Yes, yeah, that's the way. And
God.
you're true, like, protecting our energy, drawing a boundary there helps immensely,
Yes.
especially when you have to deal with
Yes.
toxicity around you. Yes.
Yes. I think
Where
I
I
think
could,
setting, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, I could see the marked difference when I would fiercely protect my energy against the judgment that, oh, she's very arrogant or snobbish. But I used to protect my boundaries fiercely, not letting in any toxicity inside, and I was peaceful and content with my life, doing what I
Mm,
was supposed to do. I was an ambivert. I would be introvert when I want, extrovert when I wanted it to be. But
mm,
the moment I started, that boundary started fading is when the toxicity started seeping in. That's when the self doubt started seeping in. That's when
mm,
people started taking advantage of me. Or that's when, I started having to please people. So yeah, protecting your boundary, protecting your energies, protecting your boundaries is so important. And people have
mm,
this culture of judging others when they are not mingling with everybody. Oh, she keeps to herself, and she's
mm,
not a very social person. She's not a very
mm.
friendly person. But sometimes you need that isolation to
Yes,
recharge. Yeah.
yes, I
I'm very
totally.
curious to know how you came into this path, Lyndon.
Oh, that's a good question. Thank you. Well, as I mentioned before, I've always been on this very spiritual pathway. And by the way, I don't consider myself to be a religious person at all. I'm. It's the Buddhist way of life that I love, and I've almost become a lama. I almost took Tibetan Lama vows. I'm a Buddhist priest actually here in Japan, because it's the most extraordinary way to live. So, really, my Buddhist pathway brought me into the realm of course, wanting to help people who were sad or suffering in some way. But it also moved me into body work. And so I started out actually many years ago as a music therapist. I started life as a professional musician. So I was a classical pianist, cellist, and singer. I was an opera singer, actually, believe it or not. I used to sing opera when I was younger. And so working with the arts and the performing arts was extraordinarily stimulating. And when I ceased to be a professional musician, touring around and stuff, I started to work as a performance coach with musicians. So, and also later with actors and people who stood up and performed. And so, really, I'm a performance mentor as well as many other things. And from those performance studies, I really learned so much about what happens to the body when we perform. Then I delved into that and I became an Alexander teacher. I became a Feldenkrais teacher. And I started to branch out and work with handicapped people, especially autistic syndrome, which I loved. I learned so much from working with high-grade autistics. Very extraordinary work. But I was going to tell you a story because I think the moment at which I decided that I wanted to work with the body and the spirit and the mind was whilst I was a young music therapist. Okay, I was 22. All this musical training and so on, but I decided I would like to use music as a therapy. And so I was assigned the high level mental hospital in the north of England. And I don't know if you've been to England, but England still has many Victorian hospitals, and they're
True.
black and huge and, very Victorian era. You know about Queen Victoria and all of that. Um, and so I was terrified of going into this ward, which was for the criminally insane. So got my coat on and went home 2 or 3 times, but was pulled back by the supervisor. I was so terrified about what I was going to find, because my first client was a murderer. He had serially killed people, viciously killed them. And the supervisor who prepared me told me in great detail about these murders. I imagine a 22-year-old, very green and pure because of music, and I just wanted to run, I really did. But anyway, she persuaded me to go in, and the rule was that I shouldn't go more than 30 meters. I should keep 30 meters away from this guy. Okay. And very often that's the case with music therapy. So you go around the edge. So you're not making direct contact with the client, making music, singing, guitars, whatever you're doing, using the acoustic of a big space as well, which fascinates me. That's my voice work. I do a lot of voice work. So there I was. Imagine it, in this huge Victorian room with high windows, with this murderer handcuffed to a table, hands and feet, with 2 big guards behind him. Okay. And my brief was to stay 30 meters away from him. There was a line around which I must not cross because it's too dangerous. So anyway, the weeks went by and the sessions were going quite well. And I was making more and more eye contact with this guy, who to begin with was very, very closed, but eventually he started to make eye contact with me, and I started to get very bold. And so I crossed the line and I got a little bit closer to him, and a little bit further. And I got to about 15 meters of him, and I could really look inside his eyes and look inside him. And I saw this most beautiful spirit, really shining, beautiful spirit. And I said to him, I don't care what you've done. You have a beautiful spirit. And he was extraordinarily shocked by this and just started crying, weeping, sobbing. And we became really good friends. I was friends with this murderer.
Wow.
But this moment in my life when I could see his spirit convinced me totally that my future was about embodiment, and it was about working with the potential that all human beings have and the beautiful spirits that we're born into the world with, which become solid by conditioning and so on. And I knew from that moment on that this man had this beautiful spirit, but his behavior was completely incongruent with that spirit. And so he had this big disconnection. And that was when I decided that my mission was to bring people back to their true nature. And that's a very Buddhist pathway, as you probably know. But it's about being authentic. Nowadays, it's about being authentic. It's about being present. All the things that people are clamoring for now, especially in the business sector with AI and so on. It's exactly what we have to do. So it's a very dramatic story, but to me, that was my turning point. I really knew that this incongruence between behavior and the inner self, in other words, a clash of values.
Exactly.
People don't live their values, and that's when the trouble starts. That's when depression starts. That's when, burnout starts. That's when murdering starts, And later when I talked to this murderer, I actually said to him, tell me about the murders. What happened? And he was very emotional, and he said, well, I was out of control. I had no idea what I was doing. My body was working without my mind. So he had no idea at that time. And that's very common with murderers. They can't recall the murder because they're out of their bodies. They're so disturbed that they are out of their bodies. And I talked to him a lot about how to get back into his body. I mean, this was all experimentation really at the time, but yeah, and it worked. He got so much more balanced, and of course he could never be released from prison because he was serving 3 life sentences or something. But I kept in touch with him, and I kept him balanced, and that was the learning of my life, really. That was an extraordinary moment in my life.
Such a powerful experience.
Rather long story. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No. Was he by any chance a serial killer of 22-year-old ladies?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. It took a lot of balls to go there.
Yeah.
Wow,
So fortunate. Well, what about you? Can you identify a turning point in your life when you knew you wanted to help people that had gone the suffering path you'd been on?
Yes, because when I started my healing journey and I continued into different modalities, I did my Reiki
Yeah.
first. I started
Oh.
healing people, whoever came across. So with Reiki and magnified healing, you don't listen to their stories, so you don't, connect that much to their stories, but you understand
Hmm.
where in their
Hmm.
bodies they are blocked, which chakras are blocked. But when
Yes.
I started doing Akashic records, I used to do it free in my community. I used to say, okay, whoever wants to get their records done, please come to me. All the ladies who came to me were in some way or the other who had gone through the same thing that I went through. The same sort of toxicity. It's just in one way or the other. Some people realize it, some don't, but most
Hmm.
of them is out of alignment with their true self. Almost all
Hmm.
of them. And they were all holding a mirror to me. And I knew they were all projections of me only. I mean, it's my reality, what the reality that I went through, what I suffered through, is what they are living through right now. So I thought, yeah,
Hmm.
this is what I should do. I should try to help women come out of their limited mind, come out of their, disarray in alignment, to help them connect with their true self. And
Hmm.
everyone who comes, like you said, I understood they are like whatever they are going through. I say you are a beautiful soul. You're a beautiful being. And through records, I could connect with their emotions as well. I could connect with
Right.
their
Wonderful.
pain, their wounds.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming, same time very revealing.
Right.
It's after
Wonderful.
that when I did my NLP studies is when I understood, okay, this could be my purpose. This could be my purpose in life. A lot of ladies are coming to me asking in the records, what is my purpose in life? I understood I was also looking for my purpose. And it's through this healing, especially through NLP, that I understood, okay, this could be my purpose. I want
Yeah.
to help more women. I don't want to see more women suffering like I did.
Wonderful. Great. So we both had huge kind of awakening about this, and it's
I know.
a strong mission for both of us. And I think to be able to, for me, I find particularly in the business sphere, it's really hard to break through because the limited mind, as I call it, and you seem to be okay with that term, but for anybody listening, I'm talking about this mind between the ears, the brain, which we associate with the mind, which can calculate, which can do extraordinary things, and the intellectual mind, extraordinary, brilliant stuff. but it's a tool or a set of tools. And if you try to live that way, then you're going to end up breaking. I can name dozens of historical figures who have tried it. Van Gogh is one of the painter Van Gogh is one of the historical people I've studied. He was incredibly depressed and also had real sort of mental hallucinations. People call it mental illness. I don't believe in mental illness. I think most of mental illness is spiritual, some spiritual block or other. Van Gogh had this huge spiritual block, and eventually he, as you know, he cut off his ear, he did all sorts of things, you know. And so he was really trapped in his limited mind in so many ways. And his body withered away, really, because it was completely neglected. And so, yeah, I think that if we can show people how to get out of the limited mind and into the unlimited mind, which gives absolute carte blanche to do whatever they want and to be truly happy in life, then you know, if I can reach that mission before I shift to my life, I'll be so thrilled. But it's really difficult to convince people who are trapped in their limited mind that they are trapped, isn't it?
Yes, true. Especially when you mention the business side of people who are in business, who are very logical minded, who's got this hustle mindset. They are so practical and pragmatic and in their logical mind, and for them to come out of their limited mind is very difficult. I've seen that. I've seen people who are in their those kind of people who are very set in their ways. It's difficult to approach them with energy healing modalities because they don't understand energies, they don't understand emotions, they don't, you know, embody their emotions, they don't process their emotions well because they feel it's a weakness to mention their
Yes.
emotions or even to see their emotions. So for them, I have to first start with mindful practices, small somatic practices, for them to really drop into their body, to understand their body, to feel their body, to talk to their emotions. Yeah, very true.
Yes. Yes. Totally agree. This is the really cutting edge, I think, for me. It's so difficult. And I'm finding that a lot of coaches talk to me and they are unaware that they're trapped. They are seeing everything from the limited mind, and even embodiment. They will mention embodiment and they identify with me when I talk about embodiment. And then I ask them what it is. What do they feel it is? And they really can't answer. They give me a textbook definition, you know. And I say, have you experienced it? Oh, yes, of course I have. I have a body and I, you know, but clearly they are conceptualizing it and they are not connected to their bodies at all. As you say, they're not to their emotions. They're not in touch with their emotions at all. And so we get EQ now, you know, that's the big rage in corporate circles, which I think is ridiculous, trying to measure invisible emotions. But there we are. They're stuck. You know, they're really stuck. So I think we've got our work cut out. And we could go on talking about this for a long time, but we're going to have to come to an end very soon. So, Smita, before we draw to an end, which I reluctantly feel we have to do, and please come back and let's do this again. It's great to talk to you. I really want
Thank you so
us
much.
to
Yeah.
talk as much as possible. It's lovely to connect with you.
The conversation,
Finally,
yes, I enjoy
finally.
the conversation.
But before we have to say goodbye or good evening or farewell, can you talk briefly about one of your clients that has made the most extraordinary transformation through your embodiment work?
Yes. So I can tell about the recent client. She came in for Reiki. She was all over the place. She was very, you can say she's a very busy, who kept herself very busy. She thought she had to perform to, always find her worth. She was so much in her limited mind, and no awareness at all about what's happening in our body, the emotions, unprocessed emotions, or even the wounds or the trauma she had. So I had to, even before we started Reiki, I put her through NLP questioning, because uh, that is something I thought she would really connect with, because there's a logical way of asking questions.
Yes.
So I thought that
Yes.
would connect with her faster.
Mm.
And when once we started, she couldn't answer like very deeply, so I just prodded her again and again to go deeper and deeper, and she started getting, oh my god, I haven't even thought about this for many years. I don't know why this memory is coming up. And then
Ah.
slowly she started. She said she already told me, like, I'm very skeptical about energy healing, I've never done this before, so I don't know what it is. I said, that is very good that you don't know what it is. So you'll be very
Mm.
receptive. Don't
Mm.
worry
Yeah.
if you don't think that anything is happening, but healing will happen. That is for sure. So I did my Reiki healing and all the energy work. After that, it continued, and then she was still like, she would relax a bit, and then she suddenly would be like overthinking in a bit. But it started quieting down. She said, I have never relaxed so much for a
Mm.
very long time. Even when she
Mm.
goes to sleep, she doesn't have this kind of relaxation. And then post that, she kept in touch with me for support, post Reiki support and everything. Just one day later, she said, Smita, that healing was amazing. I mean, she said that I have had one, two, three. She started this miracle happened in my life. I cannot believe it. Is it really
Wow.
Reiki doing? I said, see,
Wow.
Reiki is a way. I'm just a channel. You received it because your body needed it, and you are opening doors for your own abundance and for your own fulfillment. And it was amazing. I said, it's, see, most of the people who have been in this energy work, who's done energy work, they probably will not observe each and everything that is happening differently, because she hasn't done it. She has observed very well what happened, and she could
Mm.
understand the miracles that's
Oh, yes.
unveiling in her life. Yes. So it was.
Amazing.
It's really. I have so many examples of this. People, coming back and saying, it's a miracle. I can't believe this is happening. I
Mm.
came with no hope at all, and then this is happening. And it's like, I don't have to take any other examples. I just have to look at myself. Like, people who have seen me then and they see me now, they themselves see the big difference physically as well.
Ah, I bet.
Just
Yeah.
recently, I met up with a lot of my school friends, and they started telling me, Smita, your voice is different right now. And that is something I started getting when I started my healing journey. My voice has become different. And
Oh,
they say,
that's
are you
interesting.
singing? Do you sing? Or it's a good voice to, put it on social media. Do you, for meditation? that hap- the changes come physically as well. You don't have to look for miracles or energies changes or anything. You get physical changes. And that, I feel, is
Yes.
the most
Yes.
amazing thing.
Yes,
What,
absolutely.
what
I
about you? What
totally
about
agree.
you?
It's so, well, yes, I've got also lots and lots of stories, but I think a recent one for me was really interesting because what I do with my work is before I start working an audio file. Oh, got a little bit of instability there. So I asked them to provide me with an audio recording of them speaking. They can say whatever they like, they can introduce themselves, whatever they like, because I'm really into voice therapy. So through the recording, I can really get a very strong picture of what's happening, especially in the upper part of the body, and especially with the flow of energy, because the voice, of course, is so extraordinarily unique to each human. And for me to know someone's voice, I make a kind of picture really of their range, their vocal range, their tone, their register. And I get this very strong image that's a kind of, it's very hard to describe, but it's like a physical image of their body. So I did this with a client, and she sent me this lovely audio, and we agreed to start a 30-minute session. I call it recalibration. And so I had this ready, this picture, and I don't talk either. I don't want to know the story. I don't want them to repeat the script, because the script is probably causing the problem, as we know through NLP. So she wanted to, and I said, no, you don't need to tell me. I know. I know what's going on. So she was very quiet and kind of slightly nervous. And so I said, okay, you've got huge pain back. And she said, that. So in my image of her, through her voice, I could see this huge, hot lumbar spine area, base chakra, huge, hot space. And I said, you've got a very severe low back pain. Well, she started crying. She just couldn't believe it. She said, well, has somebody told you this? So I said, no, nobody's told me. Your voice told me. You told me through your voice. She couldn't believe it at all. And so I started to work on her script. And I used this phrase, low back pain. Okay, those 3 words. And I said them in a certain way with certain resonance. And again, she was crying and crying. And I said, now I want you to say this. I want you to say, my low back, my. So, really identifying with the pain. And we said it. I said it, and she said it. And she closed her eyes and she looked at me after about 2 minutes and said, I don't have any pain. I said, well, you have healed yourself. I'm a guide. I identified the problem, but you, with your script, slightly guided by me and resonant, we're looking at the resonance below the words. The words are symbols, you know about this. We're going below. What's below those symbols? And of course, what happened is she told me that 30 years ago, she'd had a cesarean section birth, her first baby. And in those days, they absolutely cut from hip to hip. It's a huge operation in those days. And they got the baby out, but they cut her really badly open. And of course, trauma, huge trauma from that surgery. But then this birth was all my fault. I didn't do it properly. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So first child, And so the pain was coming from this incredible 30 years of blaming herself for this birth, for this bad birth. And her daughter, too, has a lot of problems, which I'm dealing with now, that come from that trauma. Yeah. But I go in through the voice. That's my way in. And I kind of get a blueprint from that.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, we work very differently, but of course I've done some Reiki work too, so I'm very familiar with Reiki, and I've done some acupuncture training. I've dabbled with all sorts of alternative health, but for me it's the voice that which gives me all the information I need, you know. So wonderful. Well, great stories. Look, we have to do this again.
Yes, definitely.
We have to exchange stories and our approaches and so on again as soon as we can. Unfortunately, we're going to have to call it a day now. Smita, thanks so much for sparing time to come and talk with us. Namaste. It's been fantastic. And there's so much more to explore. So, yeah, I'd love you to try and come to the Lodestone lunch on Monday, which is what I'm encouraging. If you can spare the time to come and talk more and come and meet other coaches who are having problems, so we can help fuel them and get them back onto the right embodiment pathway. And I'm just looking here before you go, I'm looking at a comment here. We've someone called Rubina Hussein who is saying, great initiative. Wonderful. Thank you, Rubina. Lovely of you to join us. Please come and join us in the studio. I'll give you a link to sign up to come and join and tell you more about the live events that we run to talk about embodiment. Thank you so much. Right.
Thank you.
I'm going to let you go and look after your children now. And I will hopefully see you soon. And I'll be in touch with you, and I'll let you have everything you need. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So thank you so much to Smita to have her stories and experience and to see what she herself had overcome. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Smita. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this conversation interesting. I'm going to be posting 3 clips from it, the 3 highlights during the next few days. So you'll be able to catch up more with if you've missed any of the recording or anything. And if you request, we will send you the recording. And so thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next Wednesday for event 8. And event 8, if I'm correct, just give me a moment to check. Yes, event 8 is Dr. Marlene Greenleaf will be with us. She's an amazing educator, and she's based in New York, and she's going to be coming and telling some of her stories about the work she does with her students. And we're going to be talking about how embodiment can help. So please, we're here every Wednesday, and every Wednesday a different co-host joins me, and we get to talk about really lovely things. And Rubina is saying thank you. It's interesting, as I was involved with prisoners. Oh, really? Great. We should talk. I'll send you a message and let's talk. Wonderful. Love to hear more about that. And yeah, please come and tell us about it. Come and join me in the studio. Thank you, Rubina. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, LinkedIn members, YouTubers. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now. Bye.